Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. I didn't hear an answer there on the endorsement issue, so I want to just make sure. Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia? And were you aware of these text messages before they released? You have 30 seconds.
In fact, it appears that it was those who released the text messages and held them for years. So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many years.
What did you do about it?
I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
She denounces murder.
And importantly, at this point, as we move forward, the voters now have this information that was withheld for them.
You're running to
presumably for political reasons. But the voters now have the information, and it is up to voters to make an individual choice based on this information.
Ms. Spanberger, I understand what you're saying about the voters, but for you yourself, do you still continue to endorse Jay Jones? 15 seconds, yes or no?
We are all running our individual races. I believe my opponent has said that about her lieutenant governor nominee.
Ms. Earle-Sears.
And it's up to every person to make their own decision. I am running my race to serve Virginia, and that is what I intend to do.
Thank you, Ms. Spanberger. We just want to clarify, what you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General.
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision.
Boy. So we got to talk about the Virginia's governor's race between Winsome Earle-Sears, who's currently the Republican lieutenant governor of the state, and Abigail Spanberger, the so-called moderate Democrat who used to be a rep, former U.S. representative. And it looked up until now like Winsome Earle-Sears would have a tough time beating Abigail Spanberger. This race basically looked like the Democrat would win pretty comfortably, which would not be a great sign for Republicans, considering how I believe that Virginia is somewhat of a swing state, even though recently they've leaned Democratic, but they did elect a Republican governor just a few years ago, and it looks like that race is turning around. And one of the reasons why is because the Democrat candidate is being exposed as a lunatic, right? Another one of these spineless, thoughtless, brainless Democrats who just, repeat the party talking points, doesn't really say anything, is not very smart, not anything that makes people want to go out and vote, right? And when you realize what they actually believe, you're like, I don't think this person should be leading anything, And that is what's happening to Abigail Spanberger, because she got embarrassed during the debate against Winsome Earle-Sears when she could not answer very, very, very simple questions that any politician, should be able to answer. Like, for example, do you denounce one of your colleagues, a Democrat, who apparently fantasized about killing Republicans and children, do you denounce that? Should be a very simple thing, right? Do you denounce him? Do you denounce his candidacy? Should he drop out? Should be a very easy answer, but it's not a very easy answer apparently for Democrats in 2025, and is also not an easy answer to give when it comes to whether or not you believe that biological boys should be competing against biological girls in sports and or biological boys being in girls' locker rooms. She could not answer those very basic questions during this debate and got humiliated on stage.
Focusing on a K-12 school system, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams? You have 60 seconds.
I'm a mother of 3 daughters in Virginia public schools, and nothing is more important to me than their safety and their experience in schools. I'm also a former federal agent, and I work to investigate crimes against children. And so nothing is more important to me than the safety of all of our children. And that work, in part, has earned me the endorsement of Virginia's Police Benevolent Association.
Tell Steve
Ms. Earle-Sears,
Ms.
Spanberger is talking. Please let her finish.
On issues related to what's happening in our schools and each individual community, I think it's important that we have parents and teachers and administrators making decisions about their individual schools, not politicians. And if we are talking about the safety of our children, I would ask why my opponent continues to support efforts to defund public safety, an effort carried on continually by this administration.
Ms. Spanberger, once again, the question was, should transgender girls who are biological males be allowed to use girls' bathrooms and play on girls' sports teams in K through 12? You have 15 seconds to clarify.
In cases across Virginia, I think it's incumbent upon parents and educators and administrators in each local community to make decisions locally.
That's what this is about.
Ms. Earle-Sears?
There should never be nude men
Oh,
in
my
locker
goodness,
rooms.
we finally have her saying that, but you voted for that.
Ms.
Have you
Earle-Sears.
finally
My opponent-
Ms.
said
Earle-Sears,
that
you are
now?
just
lying.
intruding on
Are we
time
in
here. We're
agreement
trying.
now? Are you
Ms.
going to
Earle-Sears,
tell?
this is.
Well, I think as everybody knows, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian before I'm a Republican, and I'm required to forgive people. And it's hard sometimes when somebody has abused you, etc., but it's something you must do, because not to forgive is almost like, as someone said, you drink poison thinking that it's going to affect the other person. And I want to live a decent life, and I don't want to not have peace in my life. And so as I've said before, I would not say that. So that's why I'm wondering why my opponent won't say, beyond it's abhorrent and disgusting, why she won't say it is not okay and that he must leave the race, because J. Jones advocated the murder, Abigail, the murder of a man, a former speaker, as well as his children who were 2 and 5 years old. You have little girls. What would it take him pulling the trigger? Is that what would do it? And then you would say he needs to get out of the race? Abigail, you have nothing to say? Abigail, what if he said it about your 3 children? Is that when you would say he should get out of the race, Abigail? You're running to be governor.
Wow. Again, that moment may be the moment that ended this woman's campaign, okay? Because apparently the reactions to that debate are not very good, okay? Like, for example, you had some Virginia students, college students, reacting to the debate, and they really didn't have good things to say about the way that Abigail Spanberger handled that moment. Take a look.
By the end, they had thoughts.
Sears did better at, when I heard her speaking, I felt like she cared more about the issues.
Spanberger really failed to, make an impression.
She played both sides a little bit. Like she did all the attacking, but when she was when something was put up against her, she could defend it with
calling Abigail by her name, Abigail, every time that she made a statement, by turning to her when she asked her a question. You notice that Spanberger didn't even reference Earle-Sears by her name. It was ma'am.
Spanberger looked stiff.
Yeah, not exactly glowing reviews, right? This woman is getting exposed, okay, because she apparently has been taking some advice from Kamala Harris in regards to how to implode, how to tank your campaign. And the best way to do that is with word salads, right? And she served up a hell of a word salad here when confronted once again on a very simple question about supporting biological boys against biological girls in sports. And this Democrat, who again claims to be a moderate, right? This is the moderate Democrat here. The moderate Democrat, the so-called moderate Democrat, cannot answer this question with a straight face.
What do you make of Earle-Sears' claim that you're fine with, quote, putting men in girls' locker rooms?
The reality is that the federal government has the ability to change the letter of the law, right? Through Congress, through the Senate, bills go to the president's desk. Right now, what we are seeing is there are differences between what is the law of the land under Title IX and what are executive orders put out by the White House. And in circumstances where there are conflicting evidence or conflicting interpretations, the reality is the federal government has to be clear in what is the real guidance available to our schools as it relates to use of locker rooms. The reality is that we have multiple jurisdictions who believe they are following the letter of the law and have their lawyers conveying why. And at the end of the day, we have a president of the United States who is taking away and threatening federal funding. What I think is so egregious is that this is a tool that unfortunately this president continues to use, of the threat of federal funding. Congress passed funding. It is not the president's ability. This is, basic Article 1. This is, if you believe in the Constitution, the president doesn't have the ability to just pull back funding. And it isn't just to these public schools. It is to our research institutions. It's for cancer research. It is for funding to conservation programs under USDA that are vital to so many of the farmers and producers who employ rotational grazing practices and other conservation practices, voluntary ones, on their land who've been promised investments, and the president just pulls back those funds. The real challenge that exists here is that we have a president who is using congressionally approved federal spending as a cudgel. And just as an issue of principle, right now it's coming after the schools. Before it was coming after conservation programs. It's also consistently across our universities and institutions of higher education and research. It's a dire circumstance. But when it comes down to understanding the implementation of how it is that our kids are coexisting in the classroom or on the sports field, yes, I do think that in many cases it's the local community that knows their community best and can readily make decisions and provide guidance about how to ensure that all our kids are safe.
Wow. That was about 2 minutes and 50 seconds of nothing but word salad, drivel, deflections, Trump derangement, right? Everything except the answer to the question, right? Your opponent says you want men and women's locker rooms. What do you think about that, right? What is your response? Okay, what does she mean by that? Now, a normal person would answer this question and say, I do not support biological boys being in girls' locker rooms. I don't support biological boys competing against biological girls in sports. Again, very basic stuff, right? Very basic stuff. And what Democrats don't understand, this is what they don't get, right? Scott Jennings pointed this out. And this is something I pointed out as well, too. But Scott Jennings pointed this out. How in the world do Democrats expect people to vote for them when they can't even get basic stuff like this correct, right? If you can't get this subject correct, why should I trust you to lead a state, to lead a country, if you can't even get this correct?
If I can't trust you not to put a boy in a teenage girl's locker room, how will I ever listen to your plan for taxes and the economy?
Right.
I will not, because I've already concluded you're a lunatic.
It's really that simple, right? It is really that simple. And the funny part about it is that leftists don't understand this because they're so detached from reality. They do not understand why Democrats not being in touch with reality on this issue matters to the American people. Like, for example, Kyle Kulinski responded to this clip by saying, this guy is such a smug prick. His anti-trans fear-mongering rings pretty hollow when Republicans are throwing people in concentration camps, bombing fishing boats, and tripling healthcare premiums for millions of people, right? Yeah. Again, this is what leftists don't understand. What they don't understand is that all those issues that you claim you care about so much, why should we trust a Democrat if you will lie to me and gaslight me about something as basic as biology, right? If you gaslight me on something like that, what else will you gaslight me on? Like, what else can I trust you on? I can't trust you on the economy. I can't trust you on illegal immigration. I can't trust you on crime. I can't trust you on foreign policy if you can't even get basic things correct, right, about reality. And for whatever reason, leftists don't understand this. They don't understand this. And this, again, is what's holding back the Democrats. Abigail Spanberger should not be struggling to answer that question. The reason why she's struggling to answer the question is because she wants to appeal to the far left. She's trying to get that far left vote. And as long as Democrats continue to try to appeal to far lefties, they're going to be stuck in this problem. Because, again, a lot of people are seeing Abigail Spanberger. She's been exposed, and now the race is tightening. Her campaign is imploding. We got 2 new bombshell polls from Cygnal. Abigail Spanberger was up +7 previously. Now she's up +4, right? Less than 30 days to go. Winsome Earle-Sears, 45%. Abigail Spanberger, 49%. She's losing steam. I mean, polls just as recent as just a couple weeks ago show Abigail Spanberger probably up by 12, 13, 14, 15 points comfortably, right? Now, again, the polls are tightening. A disastrous TV debate for Abigail Spanberger narrows poll, leaving Winsome Earle-Sears just 2.6% behind. New Trafalgar numbers show Spanberger at 47.7% and Sears at 45.1%, a razor-thin gap that confirms Virginia is a battleground again. Yeah, so this is what happens when you refuse to answer very basic and simple questions about biology, and also to answer questions about whether or not you endorse a guy that fantasizes about killing Republicans and kids. And lo and behold, this same attorney general candidate, this same Democrat that Abigail Spanberger can't seem to denounce for whatever reason, he is falling behind big time in the race. Okay, you have Jason Mayoris, who's the current Republican attorney general. He's up 3.9 points, and Jason Jones, he is down 5.7 points. So now you have Jason Mayoris, who is up 48.9% to Jay Jones's 43.1%, right? So now he's gaining, right? He's gaining. The Republican now is gaining more momentum. And what you're witnessing here is a Democrat implosion in the state of Virginia, right? That's what's happening. All because of what? Democrats trying to appeal to these far left weirdos, right? I mean, their attorney general candidate fantasized about killing Republicans. Yeah, that's going to turn off moderates. Moderates are going to say, same people are going to say, nah, we don't want to vote for this, right? And then you're going to motivate more Republicans to come out and vote, because Republicans who are on the fence are now saying, hey, I got to vote to make sure this guy doesn't get elected, right? And they might come out and vote for Winsome Earle-Sears because Abigail Spanberger doesn't seem to be able to answer any questions, right? She doesn't know anything, okay? She doesn't know a damn thing. So that's what's happening. Democrats are getting exposed, right? They're getting exposed. And if there is an upset in Virginia, that's going to basically be the end for Democrats, right? Because it will basically confirm that Democrats will not be able to walk this fine line of trying to appeal to the same people in the far left at the same time, because that's what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to appeal to the far left and same people at the same time, and it's not going to work. And what you see here from Abigail Spanberger is exactly why it's not going to work. You cannot appeal to the same people and lunatics at the same time. It's just not possible. Okay, that's how you end up with those word salads. Okay, that same problem that Kamala has, right? Trying to appeal to lunatics and same people at the same time. Word salads, can't answer a damn question. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.